deadly serious. Before we start this video, make sure you hit like and subscribe. This is just for our group. You need to have the link to view it. So I need to get those goddamn subscribes so I can be a sellout and travel the world and interview more of you. Hit that subscribe button. Let's go.
In 500 BC, right after the wheel was invented, poker players studied together in a vastly different way than they do today. They used the ancient craft of Skyping, a primitive form of communication, still used today by tribes cut off from civilization. DTTG and Lemon were part of such ancient Skype groups, called the Cash Gamers, alongside Linislav, Limitless and other poker players. At the turn of the millennium, the primitive art of Skyping was slowly forgotten, giving rise to new technologies nerds love, like Discord. It was at this time that the orphan DTTG got together with Lemon and they founded the solver-based study group, where nerds get together to cheat by studying unholy programs, called solvers, instead of their own intellect. Today the has-been Lemon talks to two actually relevant destroyers in Las Vegas. Enjoy.
Hey, I'm Miles. I go by Banzaiiii online.
And
Play
I'm
poker.
sorry. Go ahead. And I'm Kenny. I go by DNA.
Right, so Banzaiiii, can you tell us a little bit about your poker skill? Do you play NL2 or have you played poker before?
I play NL2 when I'm testing out my HUD, but otherwise I normally play like NL500 and NL1K. I've played some bigger games. I've also played some smaller games.
What's the biggest game you took a shot at, actually?
I haven't played 2550 or bigger. The biggest game was 1530.
I play 100 right now. This is my coach. And I mean, I've taken some shots in the past. This is like my third or fourth time getting back into poker. And I'm just trying to take it a little bit more seriously now, working harder. And I told Banzaiiii, Miles, he should come out to Vegas. We should meet and just kick it. I live out here, so I sold some action for some of those tournaments, WPT and other tournaments I play locally. So I feel like a lot of like live MTTs are pretty good still. Was a bunch of limping, bunch of overcalling, cold calling 3-bets, huge open sizes that aren't like you wouldn't see in a typical like solution. So yeah, just
screw this strategy. Fuck this strategy. Let's talk about our freaking group we all come from. How the hell did you guys find it? And now this is for you. I will start the segment right here. DTTG. What the hell? You've been very AFK. Where the hell are you? Come talk to us a little bit more, you know. So guys, how did you find the group?
I think I found it on Reddit. DTG had another group, and I found like a Reddit thread about it. And then I posted like some hand histories at some decent stakes, and DTG DM'd me. He's like, why don't you join this group instead?
I found it through Reddit too. I was just posting, and then DTTG posted about the group.
When we started it, like it was me and DTTG. When everyone was on Skype, you know, and we had this beautiful group. As I said, I had I think Linus and Victor Malinovsky. I think they were in the very same one. So then we started this, you know, and it was like a group that was just for, you know, fuck it, let's remake this Skype group. And the DTTG, he made it into something amazing, you know. He took over as absolute boss, you know. And I think you're one of the, like, you've posted so much there, by the way. Like, shit loads of time, you know.
Yeah, I posted a little bit there.
So tell the solver group that don't post there, they don't have the blog and stuff like that. Why should they do it? You know, what's the point?
To show off and let people know how cool your ASI calls are.
When I was with Limitless, you know, with Victor in the Skype group, Victor would never post a losing hand, and he would come in only to post exactly as you say, only big brags like, "Oh guys, look, this check high call for 200 big blinds. What do you think about it?" And then you had the bots, you know, that study GTO that notify, "Oh, this is terrible. You're never gonna make it," and you know, like, why would you do this? And this is I ran it in the solver. This is terrible. I know man Victor is there, you know, sitting for 12 hours, laser focused on the same guy.
I like to keep my range pretty balanced between losing and winning hands that I post. But when it's a losing hand, I always try and like have one that's unfair versus a whale like jamming third pair and me calling something stupid or something. You know, like, just something that just like shouldn't have happened, like an entirely preventable way that I lost.
What about you? What do you post?
I post some hand histories. I mean, I've been in the group for a couple years, but I haven't probably had much worthwhile to provide. Maybe this year, started working with some of the guys and trying to learn from some of the other guys, and then most recently getting coaching from Banzaiiii. So now I feel like I can kind of contribute a little bit more. I supposed to some like HH here and there, but still a lot of work on, mostly just learning.
What I found out over the years, like even with the high level guys, the top level guys, if you actually are curious and ask good questions, that's the value you bring, right? And you bring enthusiasm, you ask the questions, and just take notes. And then, for example, if some of the guys, oh, can you run this for me? You know, use the solvers and stuff like that. Then you can help them out, and that's the value you bring. In my experience, at least, you know, people are very approachable. What do you think, Banzaiiii? Because you are one of the most successful players there.
Yeah, I think most people are really happy to answer questions. Like, I know when I was playing low stakes and micro stakes, like a lot of the time when I was getting advice, I was just going in chat groups and just messaging people who were playing like 1K or 500L or whatever. And to go and get coaching from someone playing on that level, like I would have had to pay hundreds of dollars an hour. But if I just went and shot them questions, like they would answer them for free. So, so I'd highly recommend everyone try and take advantage of that.
What about the Shark game pools? You know, we had like random games with Bitcoin. Have you ever played in those in the group?
Yeah, I punted 4 buy-ins the one night. Yeah.
I want to play one of those. I haven't yet.
So why should DTTG bring them back, and what would make them interesting for you guys again?
He should bring them back because last time I was limping both 7 deuce offsuit and aces. So like,
wait, you're a shark. You know, wait, 7 deuce and aces.
It's to balance the range.
Yeah, I mean, like,
and a couple ace fives, you know, just so like
Thanos
a couple more.
Thanos would say you were perfectly balanced in your approach. You know, like 7 deuce and aces, unbeatable strategy, right? Yeah. So he should bring it back because you played bad, or?
You should bring it back because it was fun.
Yeah. I've never played, so I definitely want to see that come back.
How do you guys actually study these days, besides hiring the best coach ever, you know?
I use a bit of Wizard. I run some of my own sims. Yeah, I just think
is Bio still the bomb, basically?
Yeah, I still think it's really the best thing to be using. I think, like, when you look at Wizard sims, there is problems with them. Like, they're not ran to the best distance. Their ranges aren't really perfect. Their AI sims, I find like the AI, it'll just start coming up with blocker effects that just aren't even a thing whatsoever. Like, it's just, the AI will get its own ideas that are just not a thing. Like, there is really problems with it, using GTO Wizard. But it does save a ton of time, and you can quickly get the idea for a spot using GTO Wizard as opposed to having to run a sim, which take quite a bit of time. And if you're doing that for many spots, it'll add up really quickly in your time. So yeah, ideally it's best to have your own sim ran in Pio or some other solver, and then simplify the tree somewhat to like have it not splitting a bunch of sizes in spots that you aren't going to be splitting a bunch of sizes. But yeah, there's always a bit of a trade-off between
so you
doing
go for,
it right and
you
doing
basically
it fast.
go for Wizard for speed, but if you want accuracy, people should be really running their own sims.
Yeah, something like that.
Right. Do you use any other, like, is the era of you know, getting actually coaching at your level? Of course, I know that people don't want to share much. Is it actually over, or is it all basically self-study for you, or do you still use other people and stuff like that?
I think for the most part, like for me, it's always been self-study. I've never gotten any coaching. And I think for most people at like 1K to 5K, that's the case as well. They don't really have coaches. They're just kind of figuring things out on their own. I don't think it's quite as simple as like they're trying to just replicate exactly what a solver would do in a spot. You know, they try and think of the spots through and think about what villain would actually have in their range in that spot versus the solver. How would that actually affect the spot being played, or how it should be played? Yeah, stuff like that. But I don't think there's many people using coaches at that level, no.
Now, obviously, it's going to be different from our level, where it's pretty much pointless, and your level. I don't know if you can say, but how much time do you spend with actual studying either the population and your specific opponents? You play on smaller sites as well, right?
Sorry?
You play on smaller sites as well.
Yeah. For the last bit, I've just been playing on Bodog. It's pretty soft games. Been trying to take life a bit easier, but
can you tell who you're playing there, or is it anonymous?
on Bodog, it's all anonymous.
Ah, okay.
But before that, I was playing on WPN, and I was playing on Party Poker mainly, and I was playing with some, I guess, bigger name guys there. Yeah, and sometimes I'd like with the high stakes guys, I'd always try and really look at the way they were playing because I always felt there was something really to learn from it. But for the most part, I just kind of do my own thing. I don't really look at what the other players are doing.
Right, okay. So you don't go to battle, you know. Maybe if you want to move up to like 100, 200, you know, you will have to go ahead and laser on them.
I just felt like if I'm looking at your average like 1K or like 2K in LREG, like they're doing some things right, they're doing some things wrong. Maybe they're doing some things I can learn from, maybe they're not. But at the end of the day, just looking at solutions and solvers, that's going to
So
helping me learn a lot more.
Right, it wouldn't be worth a week in a lab to actually.
But then, say if I played a game with like Munizi or 464 or someone who's like a fucking god, I'm going to look at all of their hands and try and learn as much as I can from the way they played their hands. Because even if they're not playing like the way the solver is, they probably put a lot of thought into why they're doing that.
Now the question obviously is, how do you structure? You use Wizard for quick solutions, your own custom ones. To go a bit more detail, how do you choose what you actually study? Do you just go after hands that you played that you feel you can improve in? Or do you actually study systematically by spot, for example?
I do a bit of systematically by spot and trying to look for different trends for like a certain node at times. But I also really like just looking at like hands I played and reviewing them in solvers. I think that really helps keep things relevant to what you're playing, as well as I think a trap for a lot of people is they'll think that they understand something because it's routine. Like it'll be a spot that they see quite a bit, but they won't have actually like researched the spot. So then they'll see the spot, they'll think it's routine, they won't research it, and they'll just keep playing it this bad way. But if they're always reviewing the hands that they played afterwards in a solver, they can correct that problem immediately instead of having it, go on, right? I think that's very important to do it like that too, because then it's relevant to what you're doing. Yeah, I think it's important to kind of study all spots. At times some spots come a little bit more routine. Like I'm not looking at like button, big blind, single raise spots so much anymore as the button. That's pretty routine spot, but then maybe there'll be some other spots like 3-bit pots I'll try and study a bit more. All spots are worth looking into, regardless of there's like a 4-bit
okay.
pot.
What about you? Of course, you completely different approach. you got the best You know what? Is it inspiring? Our silver group when your coach tells you that he never got coaching.
Yeah, I mean,
is it inspiring when he tells you that he's stuck at 50-L for 3 years?
Listen, buddy. You've been stuck at L50. Let me do what I did. I never got coaching, but it will definitely help you. No, okay. All jokes aside, what is your approach to studying, and have you actually changed working with that?
So these days, we mainly review our sessions via. I record my sessions and we go over them. I don't have the ability to track hand history on WSOP, the site that I play on.
Is coaching your main way of studying, or do you like run your own stuff?
I'll look on some spots independently, but I'm mostly looking for some like broad sweeping concepts, and it's easier just to get that straight from someone who's done the work. And like, I don't want to misinterpret. I might see something and misinterpret the spot, so it's like a lot easier to just have someone who can interpret the spot a lot better than I can teach me, so I don't like build up like bad habits. Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm getting PTSD. To change into a style that actually can be in 100. It was fucking tough. So for like 6 months, I ate ramen, I did nothing. I studied his game. I was like, listen, send me your database. I don't give a fuck what was happening. Send me your databases. I compared like my stats, his stats. It took me about half a year to completely remake it.
I mean, I can't, like, if someone asked me to explain poker to them, I could explain some things. It's not like I could explain the whole game and every spot to them. Like, they would have to be putting in legwork. Something that I don't quite get, though, is like, it seems like the poker community, like, at mid stakes and high stakes, every single reg is using Smart Hand or Stat Name to look up the stats of like every reg or fish.
Yeah.
And it's extremely accepted among the poker community that this is just what everyone does. But then when it comes to buying hands, like people look at that as like a dirty thing to do, and like both those things are against the rules technically.
Yeah.
But it's basically the same thing. I don't quite understand why people like you bought hand histories. What? That's bad.
What do you think about this? Obviously, the Russian sites out there. Should we just legalize this? You know, should everyone know everyone's results?
I think it's like
They know them anyway.
Like right now, if you wanted to be a mid or high stakes pro and just not use smart hand, like it's so ridiculous to do that because every single other person is going to be using that.
So it's like flying blind, basically, right?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's a pretty shit argument to be like, oh, everyone else is breaking the rules, so I got to do it too. But like, at the end of the day, if it's literally everyone, it's like, what are you going to do? You kind of have to.
I think you're right. I also think that it's probably not good for poker though, in just general, to have like track data or have people's winnings and losings. I know for like Hustler Casino Live, for example, just like having the biggest losers on that tracking poker website just deters people from wanting to come back and play, just like that, just showing those losses. So I'm not sure. I mean, in the online realm, it's probably going to be different. It's hard to match a name to an online screen name, match your face to an online screen name. So it's a little bit different in that realm. But
I'm actually not that sure about that. Well, for recreational players, sure, right? But for example, I was talking to Victor Limitless. You know, when he was really like battling Linus and in the cash games, he was like one of the top 2, 3. He was like snubbed. He didn't make the top 10, like 2+2. That's the top 10 players or some magazine. I don't know. And he was like, he didn't even make the top 10. And it's like I talked to him. It's like, oh, that kind of sucks. You know, he got snubbed. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Amazing, you know, because now I will get like more action. This is what he wants. So if it were up to me, I would just make it legal, make it public, you know, let everyone do it since everyone does it anyway for high stakes. What do you think?
I think it'd be best overall, like if it just was totally private, like say on sites like Party Poker, for example, you can't see the biggest winners, you can't see the biggest losers.
They managed to curb that completely.
Yeah, and there's no HUDs.
Okay.
And if you can download your hands, but like it won't show with usernames.
Right.
And I think that's really good. It just makes the games way less predatory.
Yeah.
And even like on reg battles, it makes it less predatory. Like there's times where it's like maybe your stats aren't totally perfect pre-flop, but like why should they know that? Like why should they know that it's slightly underfull? Like they're just they only know that because they searched it up on a website. Like and I think it'd just be better for like the community if it was like you could just play and you wouldn't have to worry about someone like knowing what statistics you're playing.
Well, I guess live you have the winnings, but you don't show the losses. So even though you look up the biggest winners, you still don't know how good he is, right? It's like you know he plays a lot, you know.
For live MTTs, I mean.
Yeah, live MTTs. What can we do to make the group better? You know, how can we make DTTG to come the fuck back? Should we be playing more in his Shark game? You know.
You can get DTG to start posting hand histories from his games that he's playing.
What is he playing now?
I don't know. I assumed he plays poker.
I
always assumed he played poker.
I thought he was learning PLO last like.
Are you learning PLO?
A little bit, I heard.
You know? Yeah, he told me he's really busy. You know. Anything else we can do that? You know, in a group like this, I had no idea actually advertised on Reddit. It was like organically, you know, grown. Then he actually went to Reddit and made it really big. You know. And so who are the shout-outs you want to give in the group? For me, obviously, Kevin, he's the nerd guy that I always go to, you know, if I want to know solver stuff. He's always the guru that I go to, you know.
Shout out SN and Cooper and PDG and should probably think of other names. I don't know. There's other people I can't think of the names of right now.
Definitely off the definitely off the top of my head. Shout out Kevin. Done a lot of work with him, shadowing his work too. And yeah, Cooper I've talked to a little bit. Shout out Cooper. So everyone's cool there though.
Oh yeah, shout out to Kevin, Brett, and Elijah. They're all pretty cool.
Yeah, I love the whole fucking group, guys. Thank you so much for putting up with my bullshit, you know. And you know, exactly, especially DTTG, and obviously you guys that lost your money on me, you know. Like obviously it was good value. Arthur as well, Benko, you know. So Yeah, I will try to do better. I think we have a fucking tiny MTT section though. You post there.
I did. I mean,
After I post there.
before I was working with Banzaiiii, yeah, I had been just grinding, just like some tournaments for fun and doing well, found some success there. So
Yeah, I'm not sure how we would do. Like, imagine we invite some MTT players and they see Kevin with his like advanced simulations, and but do you think it would even work? The world seems so different. Have you ever interacted with MTT players? On a regular basis.
I try to avoid them.
that's a good call.
It's like night and day. So why would you enter that world though? Obviously, for me, it was I just got thrust into it. Why did you decide to jump in a little bit?
I enjoy the thrill of a deep tournament run so much. Just like I mean, the cash game grind is a little bit more stale. I'm finding some new joys in it starting since I started working with Banzaiiii, but I just really enjoy the sweat of a deep tournament run. I enjoy the multiple stack depths and having to think about that sort of strategy. But also, I just find them to be super soft, mostly just recreational players. And I know I'm not the best MTT player at all, but I think I could still find an edge there. So,
well, that's great. Your cash game coach is glad to hear. That's your motivation. What actually drives you, though? Of course, what drives you that you're relatively new to poker, like, compared to the other guys. Where do you still find the passion that you keep grinding and studying on your own, especially when you do it yourself mostly?
I think the passion and the motivations really died down this year a lot. Like, I probably played like double the hands I did in 2022 compared to 2023. I didn't play that many hands this year compared to last year.
Why do you think that is?
A lot of it was like I was taking more high stakes shots this year, so like there was often times like I would play for a little bit and then like I'd lose like $10,000+ and then I'd be like, fuck this, I don't want to play anymore, and I just like take weeks off at a time. And like it wasn't that I played bad, it wasn't that I couldn't keep playing well, it wasn't that I wasn't even rolled for the game, it was like I just didn't want to do it. Like I don't know, like I get myself in a hole and instead of like kind of digging myself out of it, I would just kind of stop.
You're still playing, As a coach, would you recommend this approach to a student?
No, like you should keep playing when things don't go well. Just like you shouldn't just stop.
Really? Shouldn't you just take a few days break?
Well, yeah, there's some merit to like taking a few days break and like working on your game or reviewing things, but like just being like, poker makes me miserable, I'm just not gonna play it. Like that's not going to get you out of a downswing.
That's definitely been me the last couple. Like I've definitely had spurts of feeling that way.
Yeah.
It's not even had to be like downswing related. It's just like, man, I really don't want to be sitting here trying to find a good game at 2 a.m. and like it's like a lonely endeavor sometimes, So
yeah, but there's the fucking paradox, when you actually push through these. Unless, well, of course, poker is. If you have a good bankroll management and you know what fucking games you're supposed to play in, you don't overextend, right? Because of course, for a lot of players, that's not the case. They lose half of their bankroll and stuff like that. As long as you do have that self-control, actually pushing through these tough times, that's where you grow the most, And when you think about it, okay, this was hard, but it's also important when you're doing really well to fucking push, There was when I just heard myself say this. For me, the biggest problem always, especially in cash games, when I was doing well, when I had those like 8K months, was to keep pushing, to find the hunger. So, how would you recommend to people to find it? You seem to stop playing when you're down, but if you jump into those high stakes cash games, and you do start winning, do you think that you will find it and you will have it in you to like go for it and really stay there?
Yeah, to some extent, it's like if I win, I just want to keep doing it. If I don't, I want to stop. But yeah, and I don't really have an answer on how to get that motivation or hunger or whatever. That's something I've really been working on a lot this year and struggling with. Yeah.
For me, just like finding the group or talking with Banzaiiii, just having a community. It definitely helps with like that motivation aspect. It definitely helps. Just keep you wanting to get better and put in the work. And for I was like in a 12 to 13 buying like downswing the last couple weeks, cash games. So
Was it live or online?
online.
Okay.
So it's nothing like crazy, but just like, man, we're like playing low stakes, and I'm waking up and I'm losing every day, and I'm like, man, I thought like this was just gonna be easy, and I thought, I mean, I know all like this is like cliche, but I mean, yeah, it's been tough just waking up and like losing and feeling like, oh, but we're getting better, but this is still the results are this way. So, but things have been turning around lately, so it's
yeah, it was pretty tough for me because I think in the last couple of years, I think in the last 3 years roughly, like the pre-flop, especially solver pre-flop play, it's seeped down to like NL 100, right? Like most of the online recs, they basically know what they're doing. I know Psychic and DTTG, they were taking the piss out of me and Adam as well, you know? It's like, the fuck, you have like an outdated fucking style. Because before like the 2 years before they started adapting it, you could play like a pussy. You can fold to free bets like 65% or 70% of the time, and you could still like have almost like very low variance, 7 big blinds per 100, like, and then on 100 it was no problem, just winning day in day out. But yeah, the times have changed, you know. It's becoming the same as it used to be at high stakes, not because people are necessarily that much better, but especially in pre-flop, they don't really realize their equity, you know. So even at those stakes, you kind of have to be okay with, you know, 13 buy and downswing.
Yeah, that's not like it's like unstandard or anything. It was just going through that, and also just like being up like most nights, like by myself, going through that, and then
Yeah.
just like if it's like poker is like the only thing like you have anchored to, it's sometimes in your life it's kind of tough. Like that's what mostly.
Oh, that fucking COVID, you know. COVID was the worst thing. When you have just poker and you stay at home, you can't do anything else, and you're just there with the grind and you're not doing well, you know. And we don't have that though. You do have the opportunity, right, to go out, you know, go some people
for sure.
to Vegas.
Yeah, I have some. Yeah, it's like it's not too bad. I mean, yeah, I can always like find I have a good friend that's out here too. Shout out Taffy, Rafa. I can hang out with too. But like also he has his own thing. He has his own schedule. We're not on like the same schedule. So
There you go. So obviously you came on. So give a shout out. Okay, there you go. Silver Group. Why should they come to Vegas and hang out with you? You know, give us an advert. You know.
It's cool. It's not that hot right now. It's like it's cool. The Sphere is pretty nice. I apologize because I'm super tired right now while doing this pod, so I'm a little bit like all over the place. But yeah, it's always a good spot to be. Live games are always good. Rent is cheap if you do want to like come out here. So
there you go, guys. So thanks so much for fucking dying already. You know, I know I am. Thank you so much, guys, for coming over. You know,
for sure.
The 52nd floor. It was awesome. Hopefully, you guys gamers fucking watch this, react to this, and listen to us ramble for about half an hour. You know, because we'll definitely put it out. So thanks so much, and DTTG. Let's start those fucking chat games. I know I haven't been around, but I will try to comment on them because I've been a dick and ignore them mostly.
I'll make sure to limp lots of aces.
Yeah, limp aces, you know. I think we should have a punishment for not limping them, you know. If you raise aces, 20 big blinds punishment.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Oh, you have to run naked and post it on Twitter. All right, cheers, guys.
It should be like a low game instead of a high game.
Yeah, that would be fun.